Welcome warriors of retro gaming. Today we dive into feudal Japan with Samurai Shodown for 3Do. A game that sought to bring us honor, glory, and a few more pixels, all in an era where CDs were thought to be the future of video games. Could it have been a samurai or just a pixelated disaster? Let's see it together, complete with sword blows and technical details to satisfy every curiosity. Samurai Shodown, or as purists would say, Samurai Showdown, because a misspelled word immediately makes cool, is the classic Japanese-themed fighting game. The atmosphere is exotic, with those temples, mountains and battlefields that they look like something out of an old samurai movie. Each arena features bright colors, but don't worry, we're not just here for the art, we're here to chop, slice and, of course, humiliate our opponents. We choose from a nice cast of characters that make us feel like we're in an action film from the 90s. Haomaru, the samurai with the disproportionate sword, Nakaruru with his eagle, even if sometimes we wonder how a bird is useful in a duel, and even a ninja, Hanzo. These are just some of the 12 warriors who make this title iconic and who, on 3Do, promise a home arcade experience. Or at least, they try.
Here's the juicy part. Samurai Shodown for 3Do is actually a port of the arcade version, so the question we all ask ourselves is, does it manage to maintain that elegance, that fluidity and, of course, that frustration that we love so much? Well, the answer is a yes, or perhaps I should say a no. It's a dating game, but here we're not just talking about kicks and punches, each character has his own weapon, from katanas to eagles, yes, exactly the one from our Nakaruru. Mechanics include special strikes, blocks and combos, but in 3Do, be prepared for a, let's say, interesting learning curve. And you know what? If you don't like games that require a fair amount of patience to figure out the timing, well, you might go crazy here. The weapons don't always do exactly what you want, and the pace of the game seems to go from ultra slow to cat-like sprint without half measures.
Let's start with the advantages. Let's give credit where credit is due, or rather, credit to SNK. Samurai Shodown for 3Do offers graphics that were truly impressive for the time. The sprites are large and detailed, and the backdrops give us that feeling of being in remote places of Japan. Even the details of the characters are remarkable, with Haomaru really looking like he's ready to strike us from the screen, almost, well. Guys, the music and sound effects are the icing on the cake. Hearing the war drums, battle cries, and clanking of weapons creates a tension that is rare in games of that era. 3Do tries to transport us to Japan ancient, even if sometimes it seems more like a virtual trip for tourists. The combat system is deep. For those who really want to become a master of Samurai Shodown, the game offers many possibilities. Know your enemy, plan your attack, observe his moves and act like a real samurai. It's an approach that distinguishes it from classic fighting games where you push buttons like there's no tomorrow.
There are also defects. Okay, guys, let's talk about it. In a fighting game, if your character executes a move half a second late, it's like you cut off your fingers. Samurai Shodown for 3Do suffers from a certain sluggishness in the controls. Let's talk about those moments when you want to perform a special shot and instead end up doing a useless spin. The frustration. Now, some might say that graphics aren't everything, but boy, the animations here seem to go from epic to frame snapping in the blink of an eye. The battles end up looking like a slideshow if there's too much simultaneous movement on the screen. Hey, old games are for real daredevils, right? Some characters are just too strong. Our Nakaruru is always ready to show us how impartial she is, which means she can tear you apart with frightening speed. Sure, we can say it's a challenge, but some would say injustice. In short, if you want to play honestly, choose well, because some of the characters seem to have superpowers compared to the others.
How does Samurai Shodown for 3Do compare to other versions? Well, it's not arcade, and it's not perfect either. But overall it's a game that reminds us of how we played in the 90s, without pretensions, with a good dose of patience and with a healthy acceptance of the technological limits of the time. For those who love the genre and want to rediscover a Japanese-themed fighting classic, Samurai Shodown on 3Do is a title that deserves at least one game. Sure, get ready for some low blows from command latency and that graphic realism that makes you smile today, but hey, isn't that what we love most in retro gaming? Thank you for joining me on this journey into the past. Samurai Shodown for 3Do is definitely a title to try if you love the atmosphere of Japanese games and aren't afraid of a challenge, or rather, a series of challenges. Let me know what you think about it in the comments, maybe sharing some of your epic duels. See you next time, and remember, you don't need to be a samurai to love retro gaming, but it helps.